Ridley is what raised some eyebrows. The Titans wideout was targeted 8 times, but came up with no catches. In fact, he only has 14 receiving yards over his last 3 games. And so what is going on? Well, here's Ridley.
I had targets in what part of the game I had targets?
Fourth quarter, a lot of them.
All right, then. So I need some in the beginning of the game, too, then. Like, getting crazy for me. So I'm just, it is what it is. But I suck today. I got to be better. But I got to get the ball a little early in the game so I can be in the game and here with the team so I can play well also.
Did you expect to get targets early? Just kind of
I don't know. We just, we trying to win the game.
I mean, look, he's not wrong. He was only targeted 2 times in the first half. But nonetheless, Shannon, what do you think of the frustration from Ridley?
I understand his frustration. If you hear Tom Brady talk, he said he made a conscious effort to get his playmakers the ball early. Because if you get them early, you'll have them late. But Calvin needs to understand, you got that money because you knew Will Levis or Malik Willis was going to be your quarterback. You left a situation with Trevor Lawrence. Now, Trevor Lawrence is struggling, but I don't think anybody thinks that Will Levis or Malik Willis is better than Trevor Lawrence. And so you took the money. You must understand, Dio, I don't know how many times you've been in free agency, but in free agency, when you go somewhere, you better go to a place that's going to use you like you were where you just left. Because if you don't get used like that, we see guys all the time. They go from a 3-4, and all of a sudden they play a down, they play on a 4-3 defensive end. Or they're 4-3 defensive end, and the team that gets them, they ask them to stand up. You need to be used just like you were where they fell in love and they gave you a boatload of money to come over there. I get his frustration, and people don't seem to understand that. Just catch the ball. Just imagine if you ask Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, or any great basketball player, we don't want you to shoot any shots in the first half, or we want you to shoot minimal shots, 1 to 2. But then fourth quarter, when we're down, we want you to catch fire. It doesn't work like that, guys. It really doesn't.
Ridley's dead on. I mean, he's dead accurate. His first catch came in the third quarter with 9:39 on the clock. They signed him to a $92 million contract. I mean, he would get a touch in the first 5 snaps of the game if you're kind of making sure why'd you spend all that money? Now, Shannon, here's where I am, Stephen A., with this, is there's also the reality that in Tennessee right now, the best thing for their football team is to hand the ball off. That's the best thing for their team is to go and give the ball to a player like Tajay Spears or Tony. Because Will right now is still in the development. I mean, the late interception. So you gave him $92 million, but you're trying to win a game as well. And the best thing you could do is not throw the football right now, and that's where it's not a good situation. So I completely agree with Rid's comments. He had a couple drops of his own, there's no question. Completely agree with his comments, but they're not in an ideal situation offensively in Tennessee.
Well, it's a couple of things that we have to bring up. First of all, I know that Calvin Ridley has some troubles, but he's back in the National Football League. Props to him. We know this brother can play. Mm-hmm. I completely agree with you and Shannon. He is not a scrub. Here's all you need to know. In 5 games, he has 9 catches.
$92 million.
No. That's not his fault. We know on his worst day, he's better than that. The fact that he only has 9 receptions in 5 games is an indictment against the Tennessee Titans. That's not him, because we know he's better than that. We know he's better than that. And Shannon, you're absolutely right in terms of being careful about where you go, where your locale is going to end up being, because in order to be a successful receiver, you got to have somebody to throw you the football, okay? And this dude Levis, I mean, listen, we know him for mayonnaise, the mayonnaise commercials. That's what we know him for. We know him for that, okay? And we know him because the first 2 games of the season, he made 2 of the dumbest, most boneheaded plays you could possibly fathom. And a rookie head coach, Brian Callahan, called him out and was unapologetic even upon reflection because he was so disgusted. And let's understand this. Y'all know this better than me. Demoralization kicked in. You see this cat and those dumbass mistakes that he was making. You end up 0-2, losing your first 2 games, okay? And then from that point forward, you're 0-3, right? Because you get blown out by Green Bay. Yeah. And then after that, remember, the only reason you beat Miami is because Tua wasn't there. You wasn't beating Miami if Tua was there.
He got hurt, remember, and then Mason Rudolph went in and played well.
There you go, right? So you got that going on, right? And then now you've lost this. They should easily be winless on the season. He's been targeted 27 times in 5 games. He's got 9 receptions. And you're out there talking about how, you know what, he should be targeted earlier. You're damn right he should be. Well, why wouldn't you? You're not doing that because of he's bereft of skill. You're doing it because you don't have faith that the quarterback's going to be able to get it to him.
Yeah.
And when you have that as your reality, and everybody and their grandmama knows it, demoralization kicks in. Because, okay, we damn near one-dimensional because we can't trust the quarterback to get us the football. That's the issue in Tennessee.
Brian Callahan.
Stephen A., let me ask you a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Shane, let me ask Stephen A. a question. Malik Willis and Will Levis is going to be your quarterbacks. You play a dependent position, and you're going to ask 2 guys that hadn't had a whole lot of experience in the NFL, how many catches you think you're going to get?
Hold on, Shannon. Shannon, let me answer that for you. I get you. You're right. You're not going to get many. But damn, let me repeat the number. 9 receptions in 5 games?
Yeah, that's shocking.
I mean, come on, Shannon. I mean, you bring up your bad hips and all, right? Let me tell you something right now. You would expect to get 9 receptions in 5 games right now. I mean, that's bad. That's really, really bad.
See, but here's the thing. You said the question. You say, Shay, let me ask you a question. 9 catches in 5 games? The answer, Will Levis.
Okay.
So you asked me a question. I just gave you the answer.
I'm saying you got the answer, but if you Calvin Ridley, there's no way you could have anticipated it was going to be that damn bad.
No.
There are certain things that you're going like this. Damn, I didn't know it was going to be this bad.
Look, Brian,
that's all I'm saying.
Brian Callahan comes over.
Clearly he had been watching Will Levis play. Stephen A., you must be new to the Will Levis party. Because if you
He's
know
been watching
anything
the
about
mayonnaise
this party,
commercials.
they're not very good.
How the hell he get these commercials then, man?
He eats the mayonnaise.
See, that's the problem with America.
He's got taste
That's the
buds
problem
like
with
Dan
America
Orlovsky.
right there. Right there's the problem with America. We got to stop rewarding mediocrity. You understand what I'm trying to say? You should be able to accomplish it. How you gonna get a mayonnaise commercial? You understand? And you looking like, and you playing like that.
Right.
I mean, come on.
We got to go to the biggest story of the day. Another big L in Big D. The Cowboys lose big on Jerry Jones' birthday, and it was not pretty. 47-9 shellacking, where both the offense and defense looked horrific. And so Jerry and Dak were at the mic, of course, after the game.
This was a shocker. I thought we would do a lot of things better in that football game, and I think we can. We just didn't do them out there today.
Concerning, I'm not a guy to hit the panic button. I get to have the ball in my hands. I get to lead this offense. I get to lead this team. Hard for me to say that.
What would it take you to evaluate making a head coaching change in season?
Well, I haven't even considered that. I'm not considering that. Just so you're clear, I'm not considering that.
But you've done it once before.
I wouldn't be a hypothetical in that matter. Do you think I'm an idiot? Do you? Okay, well, I'm not going hypothetical with you about when I'd consider coaching change in light of the timing we're sitting here with. I'm not at all.
Okay, an emphatic I'm not from one Jerry Jones. He's staying with Mike McCarthy. Damian Woody's with us now here. And so, Damian, do you have an answer? Where do the Cowboys go from here?
Nowhere. They go nowhere. I mentioned on Get Up this morning, and I don't use this word lightly. Sure. The Cowboys are a soft team. Anyone who's been around, the National Football League or just like former players, that's almost like a sign of disrespect to call another man soft. Mm-hmm. But that's what the Dallas Cowboys are. They are, in sports, in the worst possible position because they're not tanking and they're not one of the elite teams. They're just in the middle ground. They're a more expensive team that's getting worse. And when you watch the Dallas Cowboys play, I tell people all the time, the game of football is very simple, okay? Either you're a physical, violent team or you're not. The Dallas Cowboys, every time you watch them, they are constantly getting pushed around. I don't care what pieces you have around you. I don't care about the quarterback, the wide receivers, all these positions what we talk about on this type of show all the time. If you can't move people against their will, you have no shot winning in the National Football League. Right. That's why when we previewed this game against the Detroit Lions, It was an easy one to preview. The Detroit Lions are one of the most physical football teams in the National Football League. I don't even have to get into Jared Goff, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, all these other guys, because all I got to do is turn on the tape, look at what they do in the trenches, and that's going to tell me the whole story. Same thing with the Dallas Cowboys. Look at the tape, look at what they're doing in the trenches on both sides of the ball, and that will tell you the whole story about the Dallas Cowboys. We can get into Mike McCarthy, we can get into all these other coaches, but it doesn't matter if you're not physical and violent, because at the end of the day, it's about winning your one-on-one battles, and they just don't do it.
Shannon, not only were they not physical, this seems like a team that quit, basically, after the first quarter.
Where do you hit the nail on the head? Football is about being violent at the line of scrimmage. Your offense and defensive line got to dominate. And whichever team dominate more times those battles, that's the team's going to win. Stephen A. Jerry Jones says he's not going to do hypotheticals. Well, the journalist didn't ask him hypothetical. He didn't say, if you keep losing, would you make an in-season change? He asked him a simple question. Are you considering an in-season change? That's not a hypothetical. That's a direct question. He didn't say if you lose X amount of games, if you keep playing like this. That's not what he asked. Back to the original scheduled programming. Because the Cowboys, Dio and Dame, can't run the football, because they can't stop the run, now you're at a decided disadvantage because teams play action. And now you get Laporta wide open. You get a Jameson Williams streaking down the field, basically wide open. That's what happens when you can run the football. It opens up your entire playbook. And when you can't, you ask Dak Prescott to drop back and throw the ball with no threat of the run. Try to throw the ball 35, 40, 50 times a game and win a ball game. It is hard to win in the National Football League. It's even harder when you become one-dimensional. The Cowboys are in a heap of trouble. I'm talking about a heap of trouble.
What's your definition of a heap of trouble? As far as I'm concerned, season's over. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how much more trouble can you be? How much more trouble can you be in than that? I mean, it is what it is. So let's get that out the way first. Secondly, when we look at the Dallas Cowboys, okay, let's understand a couple of things here, because, I mean, leave it to me to encapsulate things and put it in its proper perspective. Yeah, line of scrimmage, they can't beat you at the line of scrimmage. They're a bit soft. I get all of that. We want to point to Jerry Jones and the decisions that he's made in terms of the roster that he's put forth. There's nobody more culpable than him. Fine, I got all of that, right? But allow me to dissect just a couple of things. We saw the Dallas Cowboys have talent in the past. Win 12 games in a regular season, back to back to back. Still wet the bed. We've seen that. We've seen them not pay Dak Prescott, wet the bed. We've seen them pay him, wet the bed. We see all of this, right? We've seen a situation right now. As you look at the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to throw out the name Mike McCarthy, and here's why I'm going to attach a strong level of culpability to him, almost as much as Jerry. Wow. Okay? Almost as much as Jerry. Jerry tips the scales because you got to go out and get Derrick Henry. You got to go do that. He's right there. He lives in Dallas in the offseason. He trains in Dallas. It's only going to cost you $6 to $8 million. No state income tax. It was $8 million. But you know what? You could have got it for $6 million because there's no state income tax. I know a thing or two about no state income taxes. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. Right? So you could have done that. You didn't do that, right? So that's culpability on your part. But here's where we get to hold Mike McCarthy responsible. Y'all are throwing the football. You got a top 2 rated offense with Kellen Moore as your offensive coordinator. You sat up there and said, we don't like what he's doing. Fair. It's me that needs to be calling these plays. We need to change things up a little bit. That's fair. We need to incorporate a running game. Let me be that guy. So you lie. Remember when he joked at the press conference about lying to ingratiate himself with Jerry Jones to get the job?
He watched all the games. He watched all the tape for the last 2 years.
He watched all the tapes, went to different camps in the off season, went around other coaches. Remember he said all of that?